Hi, I'm Randy Christian with the Essential Faith Project. You know, not too many years ago, there was a phrase that got used frequently, holier than thou. And what that basically meant was that the person who was being labeled that thought they were better than everybody else. Frequently, this was something used to describe anybody who was a disciple of Jesus. If you came to faith, then at that point you were considered to be holier than thou. You thought you're better than all those people that you used to be like, you used to hang out with, and so forth. Unfortunately, sometimes this has its root in truth. I remember when I first came to the Lord, and I came to the Lord out of a very bad background: drugs, alcohol, violence. I was not a good person. I was not a nice person. One of the things, of course, that goes with that is language. And my language was about what you might think it would be. It was just absolutely profane, constantly taking the Lord's name in vain, constantly swearing, using all sorts of profanity. And when I first came to the Lord, that was something that He really kind of dealt with me on. And very quickly, I changed and repented of that. I can remember working the year after I came to the Lord in a little restaurant, and I was a short order cook. And I remember working alongside a woman who was easily twice my age, probably 3 times. And she was just your average everyday person. And one day something happened, and she just let out a string of words. And I looked at her and I said, "Please, could you not do that?" And she looked at me with exasperation and just exploded on me. "You think you're so much better than everybody else. You're so holier than thou. Why don't you just," and then use some more of those words, and kind of turned her back on me and just wouldn't talk to me from that point forward. Now, I was left absolutely stunned. Here I am thinking I'm being the good guy, right? I'm trying to encourage her, even though she was 3 times my age and I'm this stupid kid, to do something better. But the problem is, the Holy Spirit convicted me that same afternoon. She was right. I really did think I was better. I really did consider myself holier than her, and a lot of other people probably. So I repented of that. And right then and then that changed. I knew from that point that I was not better than other people. What I didn't realize is that there was a caveat in the way I felt. I knew I wasn't better than other people, except for some of them. See, there was some, clearly I was better than them. Everybody would agree on that. My guess is most of us have a list. If it's not actually written out, it's up here, of people that, if push come to shove, yeah, we do think we're better than them. The Holy Spirit continued to work on me through the years. And about 10 years later, I was in ministry. I was still very young. I was very inexperienced. And I was serving as a police chaplain. And I got called into the police station in this small jurisdiction, and it was like 2 a.m. I got called in because there was somebody on the jail side of the building, and we served both the police, the public, and the prisoners. And this person was threatening to commit suicide. Well, this wasn't a large department. They didn't have a police psychologist on call, so when something like that happened, they called the chaplain. So I came in and I met with first the police chief. Now, it wasn't like, meeting with the chief of some mega city. This whole department had something like 60 sworn officers. So it wasn't a huge department, and frequently I had meetings with the chief. But the chief called me in, explained who I was going to go see, and then said, "He wants to kill himself. Chaplain, I'm for letting him do it." Now, you had to know this guy because he wasn't kidding. And by then, I knew why. I had been called in to meet with still a fairly young man. He was in his mid-30s, and he was absolutely despondent. See, this guy, for the last few years, had been pimping out his daughter, a daughter who now, at that time, was 10 years old. The daughter had finally gotten old enough to say something about it. The man was arrested, and the weight of what he had been doing just came crashing down on him. And I'll be honest, I don't know if he was truly convicted in his heart or if he was just devastated and ashamed because he got caught. But the bottom line is, he wanted to kill himself. And I found myself, as I walked this long distance from where the chief's office was to the other side of this long building where the jail was, I found myself thinking, I agree. I don't want to help him. I don't want anything to do with this guy. And as I was saying it, I was kind of praying it, Lord, what am I going to do? What am I supposed to do with this guy? I don't want anything to do with him. And I'm thinking, like, I'm on your side, Lord. Now, I've never heard the Lord speak in clear, audible tones, like I hear other human beings. But I came as close to it that night as I ever have before. A very clear statement. Really, it was a question. Who do you think you are? You have sinned. And because of that sin, I had to die so that you could be forgiven and not lost for eternity. What has this guy done that was worse than you being part of killing me? I had never thought of it that way before. This was not a sermon working in my head. This was the Holy Spirit convicting me. By the time I got to that guy's cell, I was truly repentant. And I understood, as heinous as what he had done, I was no better. And I was able to represent the King to that person that night. Since then, the Lord has given me the opportunity many times to work with alcoholics, drug addicts, thieves, people who are very violent, prostitutes, pedophiles, murderers, adulterers, liars, embezzlers, even a serial killer. And frequently, I had the opportunity to work with average, everyday people like you and me who were so messed up that we believed we were better than others. The biblical Pharisee. The fact of the matter is, no one is better than anyone else, because before God, we have all sinned so badly that it required Jesus giving his life for us. So I can now look anyone in the eye and honestly say, I know I'm no better than you are. Each day, I'm reminded of that. And each day, that frees me to serve others, to love others, and to forgive others if they sin against me. So we need to ask a question. Are disciples of Jesus better than other people? That's not a question that any of us would ask out loud, but we all deal with it. So I decided to do this little teaching segment to take that on and lay it out real clearly. The fact of the matter is, the answer is no. All of us are people for whom Jesus died. None of us is better than anyone else. We may like other people better. We may have people who have sinned in ways that are not, in our estimation, as bad. But before God, we're all the same. When we understand that, then we can faithfully represent Jesus to a world full of people who are not reconciled to him. Christians are not better than anyone else. We're just forgiven. I'm Randy Christian with the Essential Faith Project. I hope this has been helpful to you. If there's any way that we can serve you, and as you grow in your discipleship, we invite you to come to www.essentialfaithproject.org and look at the resources we offer. Feel free to communicate with us in the means that are offered on the website.